Okay. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold for just a second. I have Ryan calling. Something happened with the webinar.
Yeah, it looks like someone had double booked a meeting.
Hi, Karen. Yep, I'm back on. So there might have been another meeting scheduled at this time, but I'm back on. I'm gonna stay on here. You go back to the link. And yeah, I'm gonna call Ryan and ask him to send an email to the list and tell them to join back on. So. Correct. And we have several attendees back, so that's good.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, whatever you need to do. Okay, thanks.
Melvin, it's Jerry. The whole thing crashed. They're going to try again. It's not clear whether they'll send you a new email. Oh, it's beginning to come back up on the screen. They'll send you a new email, or they can recreate it without sending you an email. They're not sure.
So Jerry, why don't you mute yourself? So everybody, we're very sorry there was a glitch.
I think
here.
they're coming.
Jerry, could you mute yourself, please? And attendees, I see we're having people come back on. We're very sorry that we somehow the meeting ended at 10:30 rather than 11:30. So we're going to get panelists back on. So please be patient with us. We apologize for this. And so in the next few minutes, we should be back up and running, we believe. So so please stay tuned and be ready for us to start again, okay? Sorry. So I think, Eileen, you were at the end of your presentation when we lost our meeting. So
Yeah,
I think,
blew the house up, sounds like.
I think what we will do is we'd like to move to our second panelist. Allison, are you with us?
I'm here.
Hi, Allison. Could you go ahead and launch your slides and introduce your organization? And again, I apologize to everybody for this glitch. And if there are folks who are still having trouble getting on, please let the office know. So Allison, why don't we turn it to you?
Yeah,
Thank
and I need to, it says screen sharing is off.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Now it's there.
It's there? Okay. Great.
All right. All right, and I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker through certain areas as well. In some of the slides, I'll send this to you, the revised that I did, that I made yesterday after getting some information from Meals on Wheels America to share. So I'm not going to go through quite as many of the slides, but wanted to give some background.
Great. Thank you.
Ypsilanti Meals on Wheels, just a little bit about us. So you see the zones here of the service areas. So the service zones are broken down into 7 areas that serve for home delivered meals. The gray area was an area that wasn't really served. We picked up all of the service area to the north of us in the Whitmore Lake area. So that is now an extended area. And then the current gray area below Ann Arbor and next to the rural communities, that was picked up by Jewish Family Services during the pandemic so that we could more fully serve 100% of homebound residents, whether they be seniors or the disabled during the pandemic. So a little bit about us, I kind of just put it into pre-pandemic, post-pandemic times for us. So previously, we had been serving about 190 to about 250 clients with 4 to 5 routes per day and delivering Monday through Saturday with extra meals for Saturday and Sunday. And then in March 2020, we pivoted to a 3-day-a-week schedule with contactless delivery, meeting our clients at the door. And we were still providing those 7 days of delivery. For a very short time frame, we did have to have a wait list, why we acquired 2 more vehicles to bring us up to 6 vehicles. So that was really hard. So we had to end up referring people to the county to get frozen meals through Mom's Meals, which wasn't always a great fit for clients. And we saw the need for our services rise by well more than 50% during that time frame. And during that pivot, we went from having about 300 volunteers supporting us on a monthly basis to being all staff-led for meal deliveries. And a piece I kind of want to bring up is that many of us nonprofits, we don't have a lot of extra depth in our staffing. So that meant all hands on deck. I was out delivering meals while we were trying to make this shift. So we went from, having 15 or 20 delivery routes that were done by volunteers to all deliveries to 250 plus stops a day being done by 5 staff members, and all doing that during lunchtime between the 11 to 1:30 timeframe that we like to deliver meals for our clients. We also deliver hot meals and cold meals with vegetarian options. In summer of 2020, we added boxed weekly meals for those who are newly homebound, and we expanded that view of what homebound meant. So it no longer was just people who were medically homebound, and that was a waiver that we received from the federal government to be able to consider older adults who were homebound just simply due to the pandemic and not being able to leave their homes. Then just recently in spring 2021, we launched a medically friendly meals program for clients that increased the meals offerings from diabetic friendly meals to also including renal and cardiac meals. And we did that in partnership with food gatherers through a grant through Feeding America and a grant through the Tomei Foundation. We also provide liquid nutrition supplements such as Ensure to those who maybe are no longer eat solid food and are just on liquid diet but need nutrition. We deliver that to their doors. And we partnered with local restaurants and even Whole Foods during the pandemic to become essentially a food pantry for our homebound clients as well, which was not something we typically did. We don't typically bring shelf-stable food items to our clients. So that brings me into the medically tailored friendly meals that we started offering. This kind of goes into where we see the future going for meals is as a result of the pandemic, we found that many clients who suffered from COVID came out of the hospital much more sick than they used to be. So many clients had 1 or 2 health issues. Now we're suffering from 3 to 4 health issues. Many people who suffered from COVID substantially and who were like on ventilators came out with more significant heart and renal concerns. So there's a lot of new clients that are now on dialysis or have kidney failure. So we started launching these renal heart healthy meals to meet that need. But we also see that as a growing need, as do insurers now. So we are partnering with Priority Health and Washtenaw County members to provide this program. So we now have a greater variety of meal offerings. So more than a meal, just other things that we provide. I'm not really going to go through these all in depth, but we do provide pet food assistance and pet care assistance to our homebound clients. We have a personal care pantry, which was expanded during the pandemic. Our clients have access to a social worker to help with case management, benefit signups, Medicare, Medicaid counseling. That was really big during the pandemic as we had more clients facing utility shutoffs, concerns of renter, being evicted from their rental property. So adding additional anxiety during the pandemic and also being food insecure. So another big stumbling block for our older adults. We also launched a friendly caller program to help people feel connected during this time frame. So this was a way we started reintegrating volunteers in a quicker fashion again. We did that so we could stay connected with volunteers, but they could also do this from home and communicate with our clients. We also launched a program called Capable. It did get suspended in 2020 and is now relaunching in April 2021. And then lastly, I always like to bring this up anytime I'm with University of Michigan folks. We do a lot in the community, and even during the pandemic, our community student placements never stopped. We still had learning experiences available for social work, public health, nursing, pharmacy, dietetics, and occupational therapy. Go back to that. So I wanted to bring up Capable. This was a new program we launched. It's a way we're trying to be involved at a higher level to not only help with hunger relief and food insecurity, but also to help our seniors age healthy and in place where they want to at their home, rather than being institutionalized or put into assisted care. So we have partnered with Johns Hopkins University to be one of only 15 programs in the US to have a program called Capable, called Community Aging in Place, Advancing Better Living for Elders. We also have a telehealth version of it that we're doing right now that we had to adjust because it is an evidence-based program and we couldn't do in-home support through the Capable Plus program. We pivoted and called it Adept so that we could assist our clients with telehealth and still work with them to make improvements for their health and well-being. So this is just a little overview of Capable. It's a 4 to 5 month intervention that partners a social worker, a nurse, occupational therapist, and a handyman to work with the client. And the client actually is the focus. So they tell us what they want to work on to live healthy and in the community. So this all transitions into kind of the demographics. I know we talked about like the average median income in Washtenaw County was $76,000 a year. But currently our Ypsilanti Meals on Wheels clients, I wanted to give you a snapshot. Our average client is 76 years old. 93% of our clients live below the 200% federal poverty guideline. And most of our clients are single women living on less than $1,000 and a little over $1,000 a month. So many of our clients have significant chronic health conditions such as diabetes, heart failure, and kidney failure, 85%. And that is a more current statistic that we saw that rise during the pandemic. So having healthy foods is going to be very important to their ability to get the nutrition they need and to be as healthy as they can to stay at home. So this is the trend at the county level. So in 2015, there were 65,000 seniors in our county, and 108,000 is the projection for 2040. And then Eileen brought this up too, but I wanted to make sure folks knew about this. This was by the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation. And that they're basically stating, if you live in the 48104 zip code versus the 48198 zip code, I don't know why my slides don't want to. Well, let's see, we'll bring it back up here. So they want to help us bring that down for seniors, that there was more need in the 48198 zip code. I am not sure why it's not letting me do this. Let me see. So at the federal level, we look at food insecurity, and there's 2 million people that are very low food secure to 5.3 million who are food insecure, and 9.7 million who are marginally food insecure. So this was to give you a viewpoint of from local to state to local to county to federal. But in our state alone, there is 1 in 5 Americans is 60 and older in the US, and it's projected to go up to 93 million by 2030. So to go back to what Eileen was saying about the high food security to very low food security, according to what we collect, and when we bring a client onto our program, we do that 18 question survey, and then we continue to do that every 6 months. So 65% of adults living in our community that were referred to YMOUT were identified at initially starting with us to be low or very low food secure. And within 6 months, those clients identified when they were re-interviewed with that questionnaire, identified as moving to marginal to high food security. So by having anywhere from 10 to 14 additional meals was really helpful. And it's really interesting to bring up the food insecurity among older adults. So a report that we actually refer to a lot came out in January of 2021 from the University of Michigan. So if you have access to get that report, it's a very telling report about food insecurity for older adults, not only in our state, but just across the country, that food insecurity among older adults more than doubled over the past 10 years, along with decrease in diet quality. And so that's really important to us too, as an older adult service provider for nutrition. As we age, our caloric needs change significantly. So younger adults, can eat much different food than an older adult can. So they have less calories, that they have to be getting higher quality foods and higher quality produce and proteins in order to meet their nutrition and to continue to age in a healthy manner. I know a question that Camille had brought up was, what are we doing in relation to the Biden administration and senior nutrition? So we are funded under the Older Americans Act, and under the American Rescue Plan, there was $750 million that came out nationwide. The challenge with that was when that money came down to our county level, the decision was made to do food boxes, and it was food pantry related items. So it was rice and beans and canned items. So for our medically homebound seniors, it really wasn't as useful of a supplemental food box for them as it was for maybe the more generalized senior population. So it did hit the mark, missed the mark a little bit for us, for those doing home delivered meals with prepared food. It's not as if we could accept that stuff into Michigan Medicine and have them create meals for us based on that. And then for fiscal year 2020, the budget plan is to see a $390 million increase above current funding levels. However, the challenge with these increases, they're very marginal, between 1% and 3% increases, whereas the population for seniors is increasing by anywhere from 5 to 15% per year. So it's really hard to say that this funding is going to be keeping pace with the demand for the coming decades. as our population continues to age at a rapid pace. And based on statistics from our Meals on Wheels America, of the 5,000 plus agencies, 1/3 of us grew capacity by over 50% during the pandemic and have not seen any reduction. So many of the people who came on have not left our program, even though CDC guidelines are becoming more lax. So we continue to see that growth of continuing to be high for our type of programs. We also would like to see better advocating for additional SNAP and commodity funding to support food banks like food gatherers and meal delivery providers. Additionally, we would love to see additional advocacy for supporting services to allow seniors to age at home, such as the Capable program, which is supported by the Biden administration. And they would like to see Medicare and Medicaid plans start identifying the in-home support services to help people have healthy aging in their home be part of your insurance plan that you can pay for. I'm not sure if folks are aware, places like Humana are advertising that older adults can get home delivered meals through their insurance policy. Unfortunately, those meals are not through Meals on Wheels. They are a lot of times through a for-profit entity like Mom's Meals. So, and it is for a very limited basis. So people have this assumption that we are already being paid for under insurance, which we are not. And even to that extent, that it's only for a couple of months, maybe a max of 200 meals total for the year. So this is just a little bit of what's ahead for us. We do consistently see demand growing by 40% in the next decade. So, right now we see in this coming year, we'll be up to about 245 clients daily. And then we expect we're going to need to have more kitchen partnerships for special meals and storage, increased needs for social working, and increased needs for insurance and partners. And the ways I suggest folks getting involved is coming to volunteer at, at the food bank, at food gatherers, or at We the People, or at IPSI Meals on Wheels, or many other agencies, just to see how the food distribution works throughout our community. It's also important to, we're hoping that folks will work with us to advocate for expansion and innovation. Right now, there's a trial program called the Combined Application Project, which allows seniors to apply for Social Security and SNAP benefits, along with many other benefits, all in one application. We've been advocating for that for about 5 years in the state of Michigan, and it finally passed. So that is really helpful. So instead of a senior having to apply once a year to multiple different benefits programs, this will now allow them to use that same application to all those benefits organizations. And then I think what's really important, and it goes back to what Eileen talked about, was supporting the growth of infrastructure for our programs to continue to expand and have capacity for fridges, freezers, kitchens, more building space, being able to meet demands so that we're prepared for the next type of situation that comes up, like the pandemic. And then these are just my resources for the presentation.
Thank you very much, Allison. That is very enlightening. We appreciate it. So now we'd like to turn to our third panelist, Melvin Parson. Melvin, can you join us? So Melvin, we know you have we have a video to show that is a description of your organization. Would you like to start with an overview, or would you like us to start with the video?
Good morning, everyone. As Jerry, I'll start with just like a brief introduction and a little bit to kind of cue up the video, if that's okay, Karen.
That's great. Thank you.
All right. So, as Jerry announced, I am, my name is Melvin Parson, and I'm the director of We the People Opportunity Farm. I also spent 13 years of my life incarcerated and 10 years battling substance abuse, and I was homeless 3 times. Yet because of some folks never giving up on me and having a praying grandmother, I graduated from EMU in 2016 with a BSW in social work, and I co-founded a program that mentors men and women returning home from incarceration. In 2018, I founded We the People Opportunity Farm. Our mission is to break the cycle of incarceration here in Washtenaw County, and we do that through a program that we started last year. It's a paid internship program for formerly incarcerated men and women. And our motto is to change the soil in the lives of those we come in contact with. I would like to thank Ali for inviting me to be part of this panel. And I'm really humbled to be sitting on a panel with two amazing folks that are doing some incredible work and have been doing some incredible work in this county for quite some time now. I don't have a slideshow. I do have a video that I did last year. It was our, every year an organization, I guess, is supposed to do an annual report. And I've gotten annual reports from people before, and I sheepishly say that I'll get them in, and I never really read them. They don't engage me in that way. And so I thought about one of the values of our organization being courageously disruptive. So I thought about being courageously disruptive the way we handed out our annual report. So we did it in video form. And I would like to think that it gives a really good picture about the work that we do and why we do it and who our partners are and all of those things there. So if you just bear with me as Karen starts the video, I would like to think it's engaging enough. It's a little long, but we'll see how it goes. My fingers are crossed. So Karen, if you want to start that up at any point, go right ahead.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to 2020 at We the People Opportunity Farm. I'm Melvin Parson, Executive Director at We the People Opportunity Farm in Ypsilanti, Michigan. 2020 was a big year. We made new partners, developed new customers, and successfully ushered through our first round of formerly incarcerated paid interns. Through various methods, we grew and distributed almost 10,000 pounds of nutritious, tasty, organically grown and loved produce. Our crops consisted of fresh collard greens, kale, jalapeno peppers, and heirloom tomatoes, and went to our customers and neighbors throughout Washtenaw County. This year, we welcomed 5 interns: Malachi Muhammad, Marquise Johnson, Abdur Rahman Banda, affectionately known as Abdu, Ahmed Abdullah Al-Basir, and Balak Squares Bush, affectionately known as Pony. We started off the year as planned with 2 interns, Malachi and Abdu. While we anticipated graduating those same 2 interns through the program, Malachi left early for a full-time employment opportunity. We brought another intern, Marquise, to fill that spot. Later on, Marquise moved forward after securing full-time employment. Now, this is good news for our organization. One of the primary goals of the internship program is for our interns to acquire full-time employment and the financial security that they need. Abdu moved forward from us because our program simply wasn't a good fit for him at the time. This example, however, reminds us that our program isn't always the golden ticket to solving every obstacle. We will continue to work and address complex and challenging soil-changing needs formerly incarcerated folks face. We were without interns for a very brief period of time, and then, as if by magic, Ahmed and Pony arrived, and we were back to 2. Due to COVID-19, we had to place some of our previously scheduled community engagement plans on hold. However, we were able to take 3 field trips. Our first field trip was to D-Town Farms in Detroit. We also toured Oakland Avenue Urban Farm in Detroit, and the final tour was Food Gatherers in Ann Arbor. Thanks to our partnership with Habitat for Humanity of Huron Valley, some of our interns have worked alongside their volunteers, assisting with home improvement projects in our community. 2 of our interns helped build our farm stand, which Habitat for Humanity designed for the farm. Next year, we will add more field trips and community engagement activities, which will provide our interns with diverse and broad experiences. This year, we not only hired 2 employees, we hired 2 amazing employees, and in their respective ways, they have added so much value to the growth of our organization. Heidi Bechtel, our program coordinator, started with us as a work study student back in June of 2019 while pursuing her bachelor's degree in social work at Eastern Michigan University. Heidi graduated and is currently continuing her education in pursuit of her master's degree. Heidi immediately caught on to our mission, and us being a new organization, she jumped right in and never shied away from any task. It was a no-brainer for us to ask her if she would be interested in joining our staff. Lucky for us, she said yes. Marley Snyder-Spicer is our rock star farm manager. Although Marley's background is in arts and teaching, Marley spent a few years as a farm manager before joining us this year. Marley is passionate about not only growing food, she is also passionate about food justice. Her passion for learning new things and teaching makes her the perfect farm manager for what our organization is all about, changing the soil and the lives of those we come in contact with. We would be remiss if we didn't mention the good news that we are signing a lease for 2 more years with Grace Fellowship Church House of Solutions nonprofit arm, Community Family Life Center. This announcement is good news for us because it allows us to continue to make plans for the future. Grace Fellowship and their nonprofit arm, Community Family Life Center, has been a partner of ours for the last 3 years, and we look forward to continuing our relationship with them. Other partners of ours have led to great projects, including Habitat for Humanity, who we mentioned earlier. This year, some of our additional partners include Washtenaw Community College, Eastern Michigan University, and the University of Michigan. 2 of our key COVID-19 relief funding partners this year were United Way of Washtenaw County and the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation. Because of their investment in our work, we were able to begin our inaugural curbside food distribution program. We were able to distribute over 1,200 pounds of no-cost produce to our community. Through our no-cost food distribution program, we also handed out 475 seedling plants, and we had the privilege of meeting and introducing ourselves to over 300 new people. We took great pride in impacting people's lives and helping to reduce food insecurity on the east side of Washtenaw County. This year, we embarked upon an aggressive fundraising campaign, which turned out to be our most significant and comprehensive effort yet. Believe it or not, we raised $126,000, far surpassing our goal of $100,000. Even more notable to exceeding our goal is that these donations didn't come from a grant. These fundraising efforts came from over 450 individual donors, most who live, work, and play in Washtenaw County. These are our neighbors and friends, and we are very humbled by them believing in us so strongly. We love our customers at We the People Opportunity Farm. Our customers include Zingerman's Roadhouse, Zingerman's Delicatessen, Frida Beditas, Detroit Street Filling Station, Mai's Mexican Cantina, and our newest customers, Juicy Kitchen and Bellflower. These great local restaurants are intentional about ensuring that their products are sourced locally from farmers, growers, and producers in Washtenaw County and throughout Michigan. We also supply a portion of our produce to both the Ypsilanti Food Co-op, the People's Food Co-op of Ann Arbor, and both Argus Farm Stops. This pandemic has been hard on everyone, individuals and businesses alike. As with most industries, restaurants are taking a staggering loss across the country, many of whose doors may never open again. So I beg of you to please do your part and continue to support these and all other local restaurants, co-ops, and businesses. Social media has long been one of our methods to communicate our successes and milestones at We the People Opportunity Farm. This year, we are happy to announce we now have over 2,000 followers on Instagram and over 2,600 people who follow us on Facebook. One of our more notable successes through social media was winning a contest sponsored by the Boma Real Estate Group. We won a $5,000 first place award because of all the followers who voted and shared our post, ensuring our success. We loved getting to know Martin Boma and hearing how companies like his have a passion for helping the community and grassroots organizations like ours that make a difference in the world around us. We have decided as an organization to do a couple of radical action steps with this $5,000. We will take $2,000 and pay it forward to another organization here in Washtenaw County doing great work, but in need of additional financial support. We will use the remaining money to seed an endowment fund for our interns. We realize, due to no fault of their own, that after graduation, some may still need ongoing financial support for overcoming barriers such as transportation or housing. We plan to be a part of their soil changing process long after our interns move forward from We the People Opportunity Farm. Our vision for next year is bold. The support of our community in 2020 has given me the audacity to dream big. We plan to double the number of interns we bring to our program, starting and finishing the season with 4. In an effort to be a good community partner, we will continue our no-cost community food distribution program. Our goal is to continue to help reduce food insecurity on the east side of Washtenaw County. We plan to also beef up our volunteer opportunities. We love having folks come out and lend a helping hand. We also plan on establishing a monarch butterfly way station and perhaps at least one beehive. Our farm is small, yet mighty, and I see no reason why it can't be world-class. A way station not only for monarch butterflies, but for people as well. We hope to see you next year, and thank you for making 2020 so magical for our organization. More to come, I assure you. In solidarity, Melvin Parson, Executive Director.
Thank you very much, Melvin. That was very, very interesting. Before we turn to the full panel, Melvin, is there any follow-up discussion that you'd like to have after that video? You're muted, Melvin.
Okay, I think there I am. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. Hey, thank you for bearing with me watching that video. Yeah, I don't have a lot to, I never really have a lot to say, but I feel like I've got a lot to do. And I feel like the work we're doing is, I'm driven by it. I'm driven by it personally, and I would like to think, and I know that it really is impacting folks' lives. But I think about how our current cohort of interns, and we have a paid internship program. We pay our interns $17 an hour to be with us throughout the course of this season. But I watch how it changes their lives in fundamental ways, or I watch how being out there gives them that support and that strength to continue to do those other things that they need to do to get their feet back underneath them. And you know, we're just, you know, we've got this plane off the ground somehow, and we're just trying to build it while it's still in the air before it descends on us. And we think about things like, how do we measure? Like, how do you measure kindness and dignity, right? Because, you know, that's one of the things that we strive for. You know, I think that's important in everyone's life. I talked to my dear friend Ari from Zingerman's, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, kindness and dignity doesn't solve the world's problems, but it goes a long way. And that's what I'm coming to find out as it relates to our program and the people's lives that we come alongside to help change their soil, you know, like working towards kindness and dignity being our guidepost and one of our values in that process. Again, you know, our program is more socially justice centered for returning citizens. We just, you know, last year, because of COVID-19, as I mentioned in the annual report, we just pivoted and made, you know, we gave away some produce, right? At no cost to our neighbors. And we met over 300 new people as a result of that. But in terms of food insecurity, we just, you know, it's just we just make a very, very, very tiny ripple in that in comparison to the great work that Eileen is doing at Food Gatherers and Allison is doing at Meals on Wheels. And, you know, we're just, you know, happy to just kind of like walk in their footsteps in some small way and to continue towards that path. And we've got a lot of hope about We the People Opportunity Farm. And there are more things to come for sure. And again, I'm just delighted to be part of this discussion.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that inspiration, Melvin. Could we have Allison and Eileen join us for the Q&A portion? So Eileen, are you?
Once again, it's not letting me use my video because the host has stopped it.
Yeah, let me, there we go. There we go, great, good. So I guess the first question that we have is actually for Melvin, asking whether this is a type of model that exists other places in the state or in the nation. This idea particularly of assisting people who might need an extra opportunity in their lives.
Yeah, thanks for the question. You know, based upon the research that we've done or that I've done or what I've tried to find out, I feel like our model is in some ways unique because we somehow figured out a way to pay folks, you know, the interns that are in our program. You know, there's a lot of, there are some across the country. I'm not sure here in the state where it's specifically targeted to men and women returning home from incarceration and doing work out in the farm and those things there. But there are community gardens all over the place in urban neighborhoods, and just by overlap of, you know, oppressive policies and practices and incarceration, a lot of times you'll find people participating in those community gardens or initiatives have been incarcerated. You know, incarceration affects Black and brown people in a very systemic, targeted, substantial way. I would like to say that what we do, I don't know if it's, I don't know, you know, I just, you know, I try to stay focused on what we do. I don't know if I haven't noticed any other organizations across my purview that specifically targets men and women returning home in a way that we do, if nothing else, but in relation to being able to pay them a fair living wage.
Great. Well, thank you. Very interesting. So our next question really is for anybody who would like to jump in, and that is, and this is a theme that's come up with, several of the presentations today. The COVID really helped us learn a lot, or make more public, or make more obvious to a lot of people some of the long-term problems in this country, like food insecurity. Could you reflect on what we've learned, what you'd like to see go forward after COVID as a result of this? And this could be kind of your advocacy agenda as well. So, and maybe I'll have Eileen start with that, as I know she kind of got cut off at the end in terms of advocacy goals.
Yeah, I was ready for a big finale. Thank you. It was great to hear from Melvin and Allison. I guess I would start by saying, like, there is no reason that hunger should exist at the level it does in the most wealthiest country in the world. It's a lack of public will and political will that it does. Now, there will be times where people find themselves in need of emergency food resources, or as Allison can discuss, like people who are really vulnerable, they're very young and they're very old, that need assistance. But we are no longer at Food Gatherers an emergent, like COVID, we did emergency response. We are a basic part of how people afford to live and teach and work in this community. And it's really, I really hope that we take advantage and recognize that COVID disproportionately affected essential workers who are, earning too low of a wage in order to afford to live in this community, and let alone to eat. And so, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, but I'd very much like to see us be reduced, that people should make more money. Minimum wage should be increased. And and I invite people to learn more about our advocacy agenda. It's, Allison referenced it, but it also includes expanding and increasing the child tax credit and earned income tax credit, which more than any single thing can move childhood poverty, move the dial on that. It already has in just a couple months that it's been in place, but it's only been legislated to be in place for less than a year. So those kinds of policies, and face it, we subsidize lots of things. So when people say like, oh, we can't subsidize this, we subsidize tons of things for wealthier adults. So either we need to change wages really quickly, increase them, or offer continuous relief, because we certainly couldn't continue at the rate that we were continuing, to expand during COVID. I think we did a great job, but it really we have to be leveraging every public institution and all sorts of legislation to really change, make the world more livable for people who, aren't necessarily U of M grads.
Yes.
Honestly, and them as well.
Yeah. So, Allison, I'd like to have you have an opportunity to respond to that also, in terms of kind of what you see as your post-pandemic world, and what we've learned, or how perhaps the community is responding differently now that the issues of food insecurity are perhaps understood better.
Yeah, I think what brought to light was, the pandemic did disproportionately affect older adults. And as we're all getting back to normal, there's still not. There's still a lot of fear and anxiety for older adults. Technology is a stumbling block for this group. And that is also a stumbling block. Technology and affording computers and access is also something that impacts those who are lower resource, lower income. But what we've learned out of this was there was a big thing that we may start advocating for is, just like Eileen brought up, with the requirements are so strict around our nutrition programs of like, the kids have to eat the food at the location. So for older adults, like the meal has to be, a full 1/3 of their dietary requirements. And we have to provide at least 2 meals, and we have to provide at least 5 days of delivery. The population is changing. And again, lower resource folks have to go to doctor's appointments. We've been trying to advocate, even at our regional level, that there are clients that don't want to go back to 6 days a week, and we can't double up. We can only bring them 2 meals a day. We can't bring them, a week's worth of meals if we have a 5-day-a-week schedule. So we're looking for innovation as part of the advocacy of allowing us to do different meals that don't always meet dietary requirements, like meals of comfort. Seniors are, a lot of times they're grazers. And so we'd love to see like snack related programs be something that we could apply for. Even food stamp benefits will not cover home delivered meals. So, even if someone gets SNAP or food stamp benefits, that person cannot then choose to help pay towards the meals with that funding, because the requirement is you have to purchase whole foods. They can't be prepared food items. So again, we can apply for waivers for that, but a lot of times they don't get approved. So I liked the flexibility that came out of the pandemic, and I would advocate that should continue to be there, and trust that the community organizations know what they're doing to support their community, whether it's California, Michigan, or wherever. Those are some of the things we've learned from as an entity for Meals on Wheels America. So our advocacy arm is going to hopefully start pushing for that in fiscal year 22 with the Biden administration, who seems to be very open to supporting senior related needs.
Okay, terrific. We have a question about the I guess a relatively new trend called community supported agriculture, CSAs. And my understanding is that these or CSAs are offering fresh fruits and vegetables through local CSA shares at a reduced price for individuals. Do any of you have any experience with CSAs and can tell us more about that and whether they're effective?
Well, they've been around a long time. I think during the pandemic, they got more attention. And actually many of them locally and elsewhere were able to greatly expand their opportunities. So, there's variations of it. You could, in some cases, if it's associated with the farmers market that accepts SNAP benefits, you can use your SNAP benefit for this as well. And I know St. Joseph Mercy Hospital System has a CSA that, because they have a farm on their site that they do, and they target folks. And I don't know if Melvin, you contribute to a CSA, but often local farmers can bundle, right? Like you have to kind of bundle things. So various farmers can participate together in a CSA, or it can just be a one-on-one. The Ipsy Farmers Market, stayed open during the pandemic and did switch to online ordering. And they were sort of a place where lots of local farmers could be vendors. So there's a lot of different opportunities in Washtenaw County for it. And Melvin may have some more insights to share about that. But it's a great model. And it's not income specific, right? Anyone could use it.
So Melvin, is there anything that you would like to add about that?
Yeah, you pretty much covered it, Eileen. The only thing I wanted to add, because of COVID, like places with those CSA models, such as St. Joe's Farm, and even now Argus Farm, like St. Joe's partners with Bright Futures, another organization called Bright Futures, which really does work in certain areas in the community that are oppressed or underserved in relation to education and opportunities. And so they partnered and found some funding to make sure that these families receive some of these food share boxes. A lot of times, even though they're not price targeted, they are just kind of like out of range, in terms of like for poor folks, normally to get involved with the CSA thing. I'm glad to hear about the bridge card or food stamps, that they can be involved that way. There's also Argus Farm Stop, and they partnered with another, they partnered and received some funding. I think where they now put together food share or CSA packages that are, they may or may not be specifically targeted towards folks that would not normally have access to healthy produce and healthy food. That's all I kind of have regarding that.
Great, wonderful. So we have a question about a new program that the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has that's called the Fresh Food Box Program. And just a description is that it is a pilot focused on connecting farms and farmers markets, offering online ordering with customers who have SNAP and EBT benefits. Anything, I know this is fairly new, is anything, are you seeing that on kind of starting to have an impact in your communities at all?
I'm not sure what the name of the program, can you say the name again? Because there's like a dozen programs that sound exactly the same.
The Fresh Food Box Program.
Well, there are two different things. There was the family to food box. So essentially, you know, there was a movement, there's been a movement underway to be able to make local produce more accessible in farmers market and for more readily available to people who have SNAP and bridge cards. And that was underway before the pandemic. And so that people could do online ordering of these things and adjust. So it did expand greatly under the pandemic. But there's still some barriers, you know, and Allison mentioned them too, with just relying on technology to do it. But it is a positive benefit. But again, like people need to have increased SNAP benefits in order to take advantage of it. Because many people's SNAP benefits are so limited. And so the Double Up Food Box program is really relevant. It comes out of the Fair Food Network. And in Michigan, if you go to farmers or, you know, buy chicken produce at a grocery store, you can get double the value. Essentially, it's like a matching gift for the produce that you're purchasing. And that's a really wonderful program that has been available in Michigan for a number of years. So I hope that answers your question.
Great, wonderful. Any other comments, Allison or Melvin? Okay, good. So another question pertains to some urban farming trends that we're seeing that, you know, particularly a place like Detroit that has quite a bit of land that is no longer being used in its original developed purpose, now being kind of reclaimed for farming and with the idea towards self-sustaining communities. Do any of you have experience with any of those and can tell us kind of how you see those evolving and whether they've been having an impact?
I really can't. I mean, I know some folks some farmers in Detroit that are doing some work, and I've heard that they've established and are moving forward with the Black Farmer Land Trust Fund, where they're trying to ensure, because, you know, I don't know, reclaiming is tricky, right? Using the word reclaiming is tricky because if you don't own the land, you know, that kind of thing there, you don't really reclaim it. You're just kind of like a tenant of it. And a lot of times are subject to be moved at whatever the whim or fancy is of the landowners. So they've established a land trust so that Black farmers can actually own the land there. I don't know, again, I'm here in Washtenaw County, so I can't speak from it from a very knowledgeable perspective. And I think here in Washtenaw County, there's been some discussions started about trying to establish something along the lines of what's going on in Detroit here in Washtenaw County. But that's all I have in regard to that question, Karen.
Great. So we have another question that's directed at Allison. Allison, given that your population is elderly for the most part, can you excuse me, can you describe, does your organization try to kind of represent that population even kind of more broadly in terms of getting access to other resources, trying to, you know, as Eileen was talking about, the poverty issue is front and central, obviously here. Any other ways that you're kind of trying to be a broader advocate for that population?
So yes, and without getting too political, we're part of, we urged the county commissioners for over 2 years to start a council on aging. It took a lot of convincing through the Area Agency on Aging 1B. We finally were able to get them to set that up. So there's now a council that's in place that has representation from all over the county to help move forward needs for seniors. So that's a great step forward. We had to do that as a step backwards because even though there was a goal to get a millage to help senior services, we were basically told no go by the county commissioners, even though a survey that was conducted showed that there was a will of over 78% of those who vote that they would support a senior millage, but we were told that it would be a no-go. We are one of the wealthiest counties in the state of Michigan, and actually within the US, we're a pretty wealthy county. So out of 56 counties, there are 47 counties that have millages. So we are one of the last counties that doesn't have a millage. So we are continuing to fight for a millage to support services for seniors. And it's not just millage funding to support home delivered meals, it's to support access to case management, home modifications, which I think are going to be a really big need as we see the population wanting to stay in their homes. Many of us live in 2-story homes. I'm thinking we all have stairs in our house, I'm sure. That becomes quite a risk for us as we age. So a lot of homes need to be adapted for seniors rather than moving them to another home. Many of us like our home. So we're trying to advocate for that. And that's why capable is so important to us. Our social workers are all trained in Medicare, Medicaid counseling. So we advocate for the Medicare changes as well at the state and federal level, along with Meals on Wheels America. So we really have started to see that these are some of the things more than just providing food, because we get there, we see things, we see them many days a week. You can't just say, here's your food, bye. You know, it's the same reason probably most of us, whatever agency you work for, when you see a need, people who are there want to rise up and help support it. So we definitely advocate for the full needs of seniors. And food is just the general way we get into people's homes. Food opens people up to wanting to share with you, even if they're going to be vulnerable. Seniors are worried that you come in my house, you don't like how it looks, you're going to try to yank me out of my house. And that's not our goal. We want to keep you there. So that's what we're trying to advocate for, is more program funding to support, just healthy living and aging.
Okay, terrific, great. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, and I wanted to give each panelist, a minute to, if there's any kind of parting message you'd like to impart for our audience. And Melvin, I'll start with you because there was actually a question asking about the length of your internships. Are they year-long? So maybe you could answer that, and then any final thought you had.
All right, thank you, Karen. So we're still trying to, because we're not capable, we're not set up to do outdoor growing in the winter months. We don't have a hoop house or indoor growing space. Our internship, we're still trying to figure it out. It's kind of like between 8 to 9 months, weather dependent. And our interns spend, on average, throughout the course of the year, they spend about 20 hours a week with us for about 8 to 9 months. And I guess I would close by saying, in the spirit of leading an organization, we could use your help. We could use your support. And I encourage you to check out our website at WTPOF.org, or our social media pages, which is We the People Opportunity Farm on Facebook and WTPOF on Instagram. And you all are cordially invited to come out to our farm and meet us, and we would love to meet you.
Great.
And thanks for allowing me to be here. I actually have a hard stop and have to take off. We're harvesting today,
Okay.
And I've got to get back to the farm. I had to find a stable internet connection, so I came over here to cultivate to do that. But I've got to get back. And again, I'm humbled to be a part, to have a seat at the table.
Thank
Yes.
you so much for your time today, Melvin. It was extremely interesting, and we certainly appreciate hearing your message. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Bye, everyone.
goodbye. So Eileen, can I turn to you then in terms of any kind of parting shot you have in mind?
Yeah, stay engaged, get involved. Our website is foodgatherers.org. And if you're interested to learn more about the advocacy agenda that I was starting to talk about at the end, it's foodgatherers.org/advocate. And there's a lot of ways to get engaged. We believe there's a role for everyone to play in the fight against hunger. So, and you have lots of opportunities. And my email is Eileen, EILEEN @foodgatherers.org. If you have a question, I'm happy to respond.
Wonderful.
Thank you
very
for the
much.
opportunity. And it's great to always be in the room with the Zoom room with Allison and Melvin. So I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much, Eileen, for sharing your story with us. And Allison, can I turn to you?
Yeah, I just encourage people to get out now that we're able to get outdoors, come out and visit, Meals on Wheels, come out and visit, some of these organizations. I think, even by going to food gatherers, you see how their food distribution works, how our food distribution works, how it works at a food pantry, how the harvest works. Getting out there and seeing how that whole cycle works is really important. I know for us, summer is our lean time for volunteers, and we have loads of seniors. Now that we can be unmasked, you can get out there, do something good, say hi to someone, smile, and give them a hot meal. They'll really appreciate it. And much like Eileen, if you want to reach out to me, my email is just my first name, Allison@ymow.org. I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions. Our website we're very open and transparent, so it has all our financials, it has things we're working on. We share stories every month about a client that we serve. So if you're wanting just to see about the clients we serve, there's a whole area on our website that's just telling about different stories for the clients and what meal service means to them and support means.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And thank you both for joining us today and sharing your stories. It's really been very enlightening and encouraging and inspiring. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.